Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Sunday night edition of College Football Wraparound. Of course, this is going to be great because I've got so much to talk about tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, of course, as you can see in the description and in the thumbnail, I made my trip to Auburn yesterday to watch the Tigers play. Very great experience I got to have. Of course, Alabama 4-H, giving them a shout out. And then also, I do want to give a shout out to Clay Harris. He was the one who put together, he held my phone for the video and he took the picture for the thumbnail. So, a little shout out to Clay Harris. But, of course, a lot to talk about. Jordan Travis, Syracuse, Chip Kelly. We're going to talk. We got Q&A time right smack dab right in the middle of the show. We're going to talk about Washington and Oregon State, Georgia, Tennessee. And then, folks, the most epic Thanksgiving week slate of college football games. That's right. Not one, not two, 3 games all coming to you here on Saber Broadcast Network. But first, let's start out with what is maybe one of maybe the biggest thing I've done here on the channel. And that is I've had an opportunity to go on a football field in the SEC. Now, you may be asking me, Cooper, haven't you been to the 8A game, like at the end of it, where all the fans could go walk on the field? Yeah. I got to do that at Alabama. But here's the difference. Difference is this was pregame of an SEC football game in the fall and on my 18th birthday, if I shall say. So, without a doubt, here is my video from Auburn, Alabama. Take a look. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are live here from Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama. This is one of the first times ever that I've actually been on a football field on an SEC stadium like this. So, great opportunity here. Today, Auburn taking on New Mexico State. Very interesting game we have. It's going to be interesting to see how does Auburn take to today's game. I want to see, because the last few weeks the offense has really gotten going. Offense, going to be very interesting. How do they do today? What do they need to work on as far as getting prepared for Alabama? Going to be very interesting. So we will see how it goes today, and I'll send it back to Cooper back in the studio. So, that right there. A little snippet, kind of like, okay, what's Alabama? Oh my goodness. Either way. How is Auburn going to do? It's, very, my words, I was like, okay, Auburn, I think is going to do really good in this game. And so what I'm going to say in this video is I'm interested to watch this offense, which I really was. Very interested to see how does Auburn's offense do in this game. So, little snippet of what I wanted to talk about there at the beginning. So, that is, that's a little video I got from down there. Of course, the picture, my thumbnail, of course, that was the other thing I was able to get. And, I'll say this. One, that is a beautiful stadium. They're on the plains. Beautiful stadium. And I got to tell you, because right before the game, you got all the pregame festivities. You see the eagle fly, right there before, you got the band come out and lead the crowd in some chants and stuff. I got to say, Auburn, it was incredible just to be down there and experience the culture down there. Very different from Alabama, if I shall say. I've been to many Alabama games, and this is the second Auburn game I've been to. If I was honest about myself, is that the first time I went, that I didn't really give Auburn a chance, I think. I was kind of, because I was at that mode in my life where I was like, okay, I'm a Bama fan. I hate going to Auburn. Why am I having to go to Auburn? This is terrible. And so I didn't really give it a chance that day. Well, I wanted to make the most of yesterday because, one, it was my birthday, and then two, it was an incredible experience to go down there and actually get on the field. So we got a bunch of photos down there with Alabama 4-H. Got to give them a shout out because they were the reason I even was able to get on the field in the first place. So incredible experience, to say the least. And got to tell you that, that it was one of those moments where you got on the field and you could just feel like you could tell there was a lot of history that had been made on that field. So many incredible games, so many different players that are now professionally playing. Just an incredible environment to be in. That stadium, like I said, you just felt how special of a place you were in. And so, just a great experience, to say the least. And I've said that multiple times already. So, of course, just incredible experience. And so that was probably one of the best birthday gifts, was to get on a field. And so, it's one of those moments where you kind of look at yourself and be like, this is awesome. Very incredible. And, of course, we made it down safely to Auburn. Of course, that's a 3.5-hour drive from our house. So, yeah, incredible experience to be there. But now, because I'm the host I am, and of this show, and, let's get into what we really want to talk about. How did the game go? And I'm going to be honest with you. Didn't have a lot of expectations for New Mexico State coming into this game, but man, did I leave Jordan-Hare Stadium just amazed at what New Mexico State was able to do. Because, let me be honest with you, this game, before I go into the stats and how both teams measured up against each other, let's tell it for what it was. New Mexico State came to Auburn and just outplayed them. It was that simple. New Mexico State had a game plan coming in, and that was, let's run as much clock, let's hold the ball, let's convert on third down. Just leave that Auburn defense out there, and if you can do that, we've got them where we want them. And that's what they did all game long. Folks, when I tell you that New Mexico State had the ball for what felt like forever, it's true. At the end of the game, they had held on to the ball for 38 minutes, 50 seconds. Auburn had it for 21 minutes and 10 seconds. So, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, New Mexico State, they had the plan. They knew what they were going to do in order to win this game. And folks, I got to tell you how impressive New Mexico State looked. Their quarterback, I'm telling you, I'm going to real quickly find his name. Diego Pavia? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But let me tell you, the way that he would either sit in the pocket and just confidently deliver the ball, or if he had to get out of the pocket and make a throw off balance against this Auburn defense. Incredible stuff from him in this game. Auburn just got outplayed. And here's the thing that really gets me. Because, yes, they've lost games in the past where they were at home, but with it being New Mexico State, it was shocking to me because it was a game where I coming in, I'm like, okay, Auburn should win this pretty big. But I always knew in the back of my head. But the big thing here, and I think it caught Auburn this time, Auburn has always had this ability to have that one game. And you Auburn fans, you know what I'm talking about. They always have that game when they're playing a team that they should overwhelmingly beat. The game is either close or they end up losing the game. Now, what do I think about the status of Hugh Freeze? Because I got to bring it up. Because I got to say this. I do not think for 1 minute Hugh Freeze should be fired yet. I think that if we're saying he should be fired, I think we're going into this prematurely. Because I just don't think he should be fired. This guy, go back and look what he's done. He's an incredible coach. Yes, he lost to New Mexico State. But this is the first year. I'm the first one that'll probably end up doing this because it's just me. This is how I know this stuff. But if you have to compare, and I'm going to do it, look at Nick Saban. His first year, they lost to Southern Miss. Yes, Southern Miss. So don't tell me for a minute Hugh Freeze should be fired because you know what? Something may happen. Something good may happen for Auburn. So, that's my thing. Don't be on the edge of, don't be saying Hugh Freeze should get fired yet because who knows what could happen with Auburn. Plus, with the Iron Bowl coming up, let me tell you, this game, no matter if Auburn's 6-5 or 11-0, no matter if Alabama is 11-0 or 6-5, here's the thing: the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. Rarely is it a blowout. This game's going to be close. So that's all I'm going to tell you. But what I will tell you, though, this getting back to the New Mexico State game, most of the time, if in total yards you're outgained by 200 yards, if someone holds onto the ball for 18 more minutes than you, and just a recipe for losing. And that's what Auburn did. They came in, and most likely, looking ahead to Alabama. And, well, it bit them. So, that is... Okay, Louisiana Monroe. Okay, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. But, just that's the moral of the story of this game. So, Auburn just didn't have it yesterday. So that is what I wanted to say about the Auburn New Mexico State game. Of course, that went on a little long, of course, with me telling the story of how the game, getting there to the game and all that. So now, let us shift our attention. Let's talk about Jordan Travis. Because his injury. So, if you were, and I will admit, wasn't home. You already know this. I wasn't home. I was at the Auburn game. And I look on my phone as we're coming home, and I see where Jordan Travis, he's gotten injured. And so they ended up, of course, winning big over UNA, 58-13. But here's the thing with Florida State. Of course, now it comes into, can their backup, can he actually continue the success Florida State's had all year? Now, I will say, for Jordan Travis, that injury, yeah, it's already, everybody already knows this. He's done for the year. And the thing I worry about is, what is his likelihood of playing significant football in the NFL? I don't know yet. Now, he is a senior, as you know. So he's actually, that was his last game in Tallahassee. And he gets injured. So you got to feel for the guy. I mean, you truly do, because this was his last game there in Tallahassee, playing in front of a home crowd, and that's the way it ended. I mean, you got to feel for the guy, and so hopefully he's going to heal quickly, but very sad development with him. He was doing such a great job for Florida State. They're undefeated right now. They have a chance to win a national championship, and that happened. It's very hard to see that happen to a guy like him. But for Jordan Travis, it'd be very interesting to see as far as how long will it take for him to get back, and if he ever does play in the NFL. It's going to be very interesting for sure. So that's what I wanted to bring with Jordan Travis. Also, all I know is it's a severe leg injury. Most likely, from the video, it's most likely like a dislocated ankle. So yeah, bad stuff for him. So now let's go to our next topic of the night. That is, and this is, we all saw this coming, but Syracuse, they have fired Dino Babers after 8 seasons. So the guy who, a couple years ago, Syracuse was fine, but they have just not gotten where they've wanted to go. So Dino Babers is out. So he ended his tenure with the university with a 41-55 record over 8 years. So losing record. So right now, and I don't know if I want to attempt to say this name. Very difficult, but their tight ends coach, Syracuse's tight ends coach, will be the interim coach. He actually was the interim at Rutgers after Chris Ash was fired in 2019. So right now, Syracuse is 5-6, and they've actually lost 6 of their past 7 games, which is marking the second consecutive year that featured a precipitous slide to the end of the season. Yes, I'm also getting this information from ESPN. So, also, one of the sad things here for Syracuse, if you're a Syracuse fan, that his ACC record is 20-45. So, definitely not good. One of the big things that's really gotten him over these last few years is that it's the big game where he really hasn't won. Now, it was also, I think, from reading this, that his ability to get players out of the transfer portal was becoming concerning for Syracuse, and just player development really not incredible for Syracuse while Babers was the head coach. So very interesting here to see. And, it really brings up a good question about how and where do they go? Because this is interesting. Because for Babers, he's now gone. If you're Syracuse, who are you going after? Because right now, do you, in this literally one last game, are you going to base off of, okay, let's see if we get a win here, we get to go to a bowl game. And then if we go to a bowl game, how does this team play for this interim head coach? So here's the question. Do they consider promoting the interim coach at the end of it all? Because, that's what we're waiting to see. Are we going to promote a guy, or are we going to go outside of the university? Let's go find somebody. Somebody that's been rumored, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think this happens, but Dan Mullen, right now, he's on, he works for ESPN. I don't see him leaving for Syracuse. Yeah, no, I don't see that happening. He's there's more likely for him to go to Mississippi State, which I don't think he's going to Mississippi State either. But I mean, that's just my opinion. But Dan Mullen would probably be a good choice for Syracuse. I just don't see it happening. I just don't whatsoever. So, very interesting stuff coming out of Syracuse. Of course, we will, be monitoring the situation, and we will, whenever we get more information, we will, of course, do another live stream for, figuring out who do we think Syracuse is going to hire, because very interesting stuff going on. So now, let's go all the way out to LA, and let's talk about Chip Kelly. Now, the way UCLA has handled this Chip Kelly situation, I'm going to be honest with you folks. This is very confusing. But all in all, basically from what I understand is that UCLA came out and they said that, not yet, but we are going to fire Chip Kelly. So they held on to him. They go to USC. And they beat USC. Also, USC is such a dumpster fire this season. They go from being a preseason playoff contender. Literally, folks, they were considered to be maybe the top team in the land in the preseason by some. They're going to be set. They are 7-5, looking to go to a bowl game. So, I mean, that's all I'm going to say. USC dumpster fire, but also UCLA. They go to USC, they beat them. UCLA sitting at 7-4. So now, if you're UCLA, you can't fire him, can you? I mean, it's all going to depend on this California game coming up Saturday, because depending on the way that they play this game, you could see Chip Kelly still get fired. And so, right at the moment, he's safe. He is still in LA. But I got to be honest with you. This is such a weird situation if you're UCLA. Because now you've told the media that you're going to fire him. But are you going to fire him? Like, if you were going to do it, you should have done it. That's all I'm going to say. Because you can't tell the media one thing, and then he goes out, coaches a good game, they win a game, and then you're going to still fire him? Like, this is so crazy. And I don't know if this is going to be effective if you're UCLA, but my goodness. What a situation. And if I'm Chip Kelly, let's be honest. Does Chip Kelly going to want to get fired? Does he want to get fired at this point? Or does he just want to say, you know what? I know you don't want me here. Even though I just won this game for you, I think I'll go ahead and step down and go look for other positions. I mean, let's be honest. Chip Kelly, which I think he is a good enough coach that, let's be honest, what if the money's there from A&M? I'm not saying he's going to A&M, but let's just play hypothetical here. And I mean, you know. So I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with this whole situation and whether or not, whether or not he is going to get fired or if it was just rumors or whatever, but we will, of course, keep you up to date on that situation. But now is your opportunity. If you want to ask me any questions regarding college football, here's your opportunity to right now type in the chat whatever you want to talk about. This is your chance. So you can fire away with any questions that you may have regarding college football. So I'm going to take a minute to answer a text message while y'all get your questions together. So this is actually a good question. So where does Zach Arnett go to? Okay, so Brady Hoke is retiring at the end of the season. So what's going to happen with Zach Arnett? I think he's going to take San Diego State. Simple and easy right there. So how to answer this one? Okay, first of all, I don't think Hugh Freeze is going to get fired, but this would honestly be pretty funny. I will say, I have been outspoken about how I've not enjoyed the way Deion has coached his team because he's making it's all I'm going to say is if I'm either a player or an assistant coach, and if I'm offered by Deion, I'm not going because of the way he handles things. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know. Let's see here. Another question, is Deion Coach of the Year? Okay, folks, here's the way to answer this. ESPN. Who are they going to say is Coach of the Year? Deion Sanders. You already know it. That's what ESPN is going to do. Because ESPN is going to ESPN. But another question, Deion to A&M. Not a chance. Unless they want to do something crazy and ridiculous. Also, from our Auburn fan, we do not want Prime. I didn't think he did. Is Auburn the biggest disappointment of the SEC? They may be. Them or Vandy or Arkansas. Really, them three are really at the bottom. So, I mean. Butch Jones, comeback coach of the year? Quite possibly, after the way that they got just crushed by Oklahoma and the way they're now bowl eligible. Incredible stuff here. You never know. Who would win, Georgia 2024 or LSU 2019? Ooh, now that's a good question. Or wait, let me be honest with myself. LSU. That LSU football team was something else. Something that I don't think a lot of us actually And truthfully, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Now, of course, like I said, I'm 18 years old, so I haven't seen as much as what some people have. But let me tell you, that was incredible stuff. Of course, this is a talking point for a lot of people, but will Saban retire after the next national championship win for him? I'm really not sure. Who is better, Florida 2019, Ole Miss 2024? I'm going to take that Florida team. Okay. How do I even answer this one? Who would win in a fight, Nick Saban or Urban Meyer? I don't know. Oh, wait. Honestly, this is my honest opinion here. The way Saban is, I think he would win. I think Nick Saban wins in a fight. 3 championships in a row for Georgia? It's quite possible, folks. I'm going to skip one question I see here. Who is your favorite kicker currently? Will Reichard. Incredible kicker. Let's see. Is Kirby the new Saban? Honestly, he really could be. I think once Nick Saban's gone, Kirby Smart. Corey Naylor asks, you skipping my questions because they have nothing to do with football. So, I mean, I'm just being honest with you. So, okay, I'm going to take one last question, and it is, who will Auburn play in their bowl game? Well, they're going to probably be in the Birmingham Bowl. And I would say most likely that, if we're looking to the American, let's say Tulane's not the highest. Tulane possibly. After that, I really don't know. I can't help you there. So, all right. We do have to move on. I'm getting a little behind schedule, but let's move on now because we got to talk about Oregon State and Washington from last night. So, let's talk about it. So, Washington, they remain undefeated after a road win. So, here we go. And it was not really the best game for Washington. Now, if you look at the stats, first downs, Oregon State 22, Washington 14. Third down efficiency, Washington 6-13, Oregon State 3-12. Oregon State went 5 times on fourth down, got 2 of them converted. The total yards, Oregon State 317 to 272 to Washington. You look at penalties, Washington 10 for 64, Oregon State 8 for 65. Now, let's be honest, here's the turning point in the game. Washington, one fumble lost. That's the only turnover. Oregon State turned the ball over 3 times in this game. They had a fumble that they lost, and then they had 2 interceptions they threw. That really tells you the whole story. Turnovers killed Oregon State. Had they not turned the ball over, they probably could have ended the hopes of Washington going to the playoff if really, who knows what could have happened. So incredible to see them get this win. Of course, I believe they got Washington State. That's their last game of the season. Just incredible to see the way Washington found a way to win, and it came by the defense, forcing turnovers. Just incredible stuff. Oregon State just just wasn't their night. And so going to be very interesting to see how these teams do down the stretch. Of course, that stretch is one game. So, of course, we got to move on now to Georgia and Tennessee. And then after that, like I said, I have 3 games to give you. So, we are at the fun stage of the show, folks. So, of course, Georgia 38-10 over Tennessee. Georgia just dominant. Dominance other than losing a fumble. But first down is 27-13, Georgia. Third down efficiency, Georgia 9-13, Tennessee 2 of 11. Fourth down efficiency, Georgia 0 of 1, Tennessee 1 of 2. Total yards, Georgia 472 to 277 of Tennessee. Georgia threw for more yards than Tennessee had in total in this game because Georgia threw for 316. When you look at the run game, Georgia 156 to 130. Also in the passing game for Tennessee, they had 147 yards. Penalties, very clean game when you think about it. Georgia had 2 for 15. Tennessee had 3 for 20. Of course, that one fumble was the only turnover for Georgia. But the time of possession, my goodness. Georgia, 41 minutes to 19 of Tennessee. That's dominance. That is pure dominance right there by the defending 2-time national champions. And so, when you look back at this, Georgia, dominance on every level. So, incredible stuff. And so now, we are ready for the fun stage of the show. What games? Yes, folks. What games am I going to be doing? Because I have multiple games that I'm going to be doing this week. And you know, I may have some guests come on. So it's going to be so much fun, folks. But here we go. Without a doubt. Here is your schedule to keep up with Saber Broadcast Network college football content throughout the next week on your Thanksgiving week. So here you have it. Thursday night, Ole Miss, Mississippi State at 6:30. This one, while Ole Miss is heavily favored in this game, the Egg Bowl, you never know what you're going to get in this game. Of course, Will Rogers has thrown for he has a 1,000-yard season throwing the football, and of course, Ole Miss, very interesting. They have their quarterback Jackson Dart, who let me check real quick. Honestly, I need to check that about Jackson Dart and see his status. So we're checking to see if Jackson Dart So I'm pretty sure looking at this, he may be playing. He may. Going to be very interesting to see if he does. So if he does, very interesting game. Their run game though going to be heavily, they got to heavily use the run game. So that would be what keeps it very interesting. And then speaking of Oregon State, we're going to have them at Oregon Friday night, 7:30. And you got DJ Uiagalelei against Bo Nix. And, of course, Bo Nix, Heisman contending quarterback. Going to be a very interesting game, to be honest with you, because I'm interested to see, can Oregon State keep pace just like they did with Washington? Can they keep up with Oregon? Because I'm going to tell you what. I think Oregon, right now, with the way they're playing, I think they'll win the Pac-12. That's just my honest opinion. I think Oregon wins the Pac-12. But, question being, does Oregon State possibly beat Oregon, and you got that scenario with Oregon wins the Pac-12 championship, then basically that means that you knock out the Pac-12 from having a playoff team. So, very interesting. And then Saturday, you've got, which it's always in a competition with the game Ohio State and Michigan, that here you go. Alabama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl. And it's, I mean, let's be honest, the Iron Bowl, it's always good in Tuscaloosa, but it's even better when it's at Jordan-Hare Stadium because you never know what kind of game you're going to get. It's always crazy. Both sides always think, oh, the refs are against us. Trust me, you got that. Also, one thing that's plagued Alabama in the past, 1 second. If there's 1 second on the clock, you never know what could happen in the Iron Bowl. This game is probably the one that I'm most excited to do, even though you got 10-1 Alabama and you got 6-5 Auburn. It's always good. Always a good game. So let me tell you, I'm excited because I'm just really excited for this slate right here. And yes, I am being told I am missing the best game of the week, Michigan and Ohio State. But I think they'll be fine with me missing it. When I've got a slate like I got here, trust me, I love this slate. And so, going to be a fun slate of football. So, that is what you can expect. Of course, we're going to have no Wednesday night broadcast. So, Wednesday night, don't expect us to be on because we're not going to be. Because, as you can see right there, we're going to have 3 straight days of football broadcasting here on the channel. And then after that, we will, of course, assess when the next college football wraparound is going to happen. For those of you listening on podcast, of course, you are listening to this a little earlier. That's because you're going to have a little bit more of a gap between your next episode of college football wraparound. So just, a little programming note about what's going on here on the channel. So we will, of course, let everybody know what is going on. And so what a slate. Very exciting here on the channel. If there is 2 weekends within the whole college football schedule that I absolutely love, and as you can tell how this season, how I've done it, that, Labor Day weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, the 2 best weekends of college football. And then, of course, the first weekend in November when you got Alabama LSU every year, going to be very interesting. So, of course, like I said, no Wednesday night broadcast this week. So that is what you can already not worry about a Wednesday night broadcast this week because it will not be coming to you. Also, I've been meaning to tell y'all this, but that video I played at the beginning of today's today's stream, where I was doing my little report there on the field, I'm going to release that Tuesday. So Tuesday night, about 8 o'clock, I'm going to premiere it here on the channel. So that is when you can expect it to be released here on Saber Broadcast Network. But for now, we want to thank y'all so much for tuning in on a Sunday night. Of course, I scheduled this late last night about 10 o'clock because you know what? We had got home about 30 minutes prior to that from coming home from Auburn, and I really was just excited that I wanted to come on and just, talk some football with y'all. And I didn't want to have to wait till Wednesday to tell y'all about everything. So, very fun. And so, of course, we are going to enjoy this slate of football because this, folks, we got a great weekend. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see y'all again Thursday night for Mississippi State and Ole Miss.